This is the problem with these things. You never know when you're actually live. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, we're on. Hello, everybody. All 17 squillion of us who are online. Are you all on your way home in the traffic, I think? Welcome to Dirt and Trail Magazine. This evening, we're very pleased to be joined by Stuart Gregory and Charan, both who did the Dakar rally. It's only a couple of weeks ago, eh, boys?
Yeah, still fresh on the mind.
Yeah, it was like just the other day. We were all glued to the TV. But the good news is now we don't need to wait too long because MotoGP is coming. So it's awesome. But nice to have you guys along. These guys did the original by Motul class. And I'm going to ask Stu, it's your how many Dakar rally? How many have you done?
100. No, I'm joking. It feels like that.
Like 100 on the first one, yeah.
Yeah, it's the third one. So, unfortunately in Peru, my engine broke 2 days from the end. My first Dakar. That was 14 stages that year. So I did 12, and unfortunately the engine didn't agree with me. And then, the 2020 we did Saudi, and then 2022 I'm back, and we just came back from Saudi. So really happy 3 times in the original class, and it was great. And it was good to have the other boys with us. It was the most fun this year. Is the local Hardy Dolls singing us through. It was good to have the other boys.
Hardy Dolls make that noise. Hello, Taki. We're joined by Taki from Motul. How are you, my man?
Hey, all good, thanks. How's everybody doing?
Lekker. What did the doctor say? There's no cure. You're stuck. You're addicted to bikes, and that's that.
Exactly. They say there's no cure for stupidity, eh?
Stu, that's cool. Charan, your first time.
Yeah, first time out there, and really cool experience to be a part of the whole show. You know, you've got this idea of what it's going to be when you sit at home and you watch it on TV, but to be there is next level, and it was a really awesome experience. A little bit intimidating at first, but to run through the process and be a part of it was a really cool experience.
Brilliant. Stu, I'm going to ask you, explain to me the difference between the original by Motul class as opposed to me rocking up and joining a team.
Yeah, I think original by Motul, I think it came from the French word which is Malay, which I think it's trunk, but I think people can correct me if I'm wrong. But effectively, you live out a trunk. So you have a metal trunk, you have all your spares, your tools, and you pretty much look after yourself. You can help other people within the class, but the truck travels every day with your trunk and your tools from stage to stage, and they transport 2 bags for you, but you pretty much put up your own tent, service your own bike, help your own fix your bike, whatever is required, and then take it all down and do it again the next day, and obviously still ride the Dakar in between. So it really is the toughest way to do it. It's not for the faint-hearted. A lot of people look at us and say, you're crazy. Most people say that, but it's pretty good. I think it was the only way to do it. Having done it 3 times, maybe in the future I'd like a bit more luxury. But pretty tough. You sleep on the ground and you fix your own bikes. It's really long days and a lot of stuff that people don't see. Waking up early, late nights, and sleeping in uncomfortable conditions. But I think it's an honor to finish it, and it really is an achievement.
Well, I'll come back to that now. But I remember the first time you did it, and I think we met. You were competing at the roof, and I said, "How was that?" You said, "I'm never doing that again." And there you are, 3. So it's a bit like a drug. And if I remember correctly, one of the ladies who took part in the last one just said, "Never again," and then lo and behold, back again. So it's one of those things that just seems to get under your skin. They say it's one of the biggest races in the world, and I think they are quite correct. It's one of those aspirational things to do. Charan, talk me through a typical day. So you all get there, all the hype, rah, 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 on your marks, get set, go. Talk me through your day, please.
So the days depend on your start time, depending on how long the stages are, but you can have an alarm set from anywhere from 3:30 to 5 o'clock. The alarm goes off, out of bed, and you kind of pack up your mattress, put on some clothes, pack down your tent, put your gear on, put your tent into the box that gets loaded onto the truck. You kind of put all your riding gear on, and in the mornings you actually put layer up because it's quite cold in the morning. So you put all those layers on. You'd go have some food, come back, get on the bike. Probably about an hour later, head to the start exit of the bivouac, and they'd give you a road book, and you'd ride probably between 150 and 250 k's on a tar road. You'd get there probably around between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's before you start racing. You've got a 250.
That's before you start racing. Yeah, we've just now made it to the start of the special section, and you'd usually get there about half an hour before your time. You take off all your cold weather gear, and you put it in a bag and leave it in a truck there, which they deliver back to the bivouac. 20 minutes before your start time, they let you into like a cordoned off area where they'll give you a road book for the day, and then you feed that into your road book holder. And then, probably 8:30, you start the special, and then you start racing, and you do anywhere from 250 to 400 kilometers of racing. Finish that maybe between 11 and 1 o'clock, depending on the stage length. And as you finish, either you've got another road book that you need to fill in to take you to the bivouac, or it just carries on, and you do another 100 to even 300k liaison back to the next bivouac. So now it's 1 o'clock, you're getting there to the bivouac at about 3, anywhere between 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you get back to the bivouac. They give you a little lunch pack, and us in Malamoto, we'd basically go straight to the truck where they're set up, and we'd have to go and find our tent and sleeping bag, which was put into those boxes, set up your tent, set up your mattress, put all your stuff, go find your gear bags, get your gear bags, take your kit off, and then go get some food. Now it's probably around 4 o'clock. Then decide to go and work on the bike, go over everything, change tires if you need to, change oil, get everything sorted and prepped. You do probably about an hour to 2 hours there. 6 o'clock in the evening, finish it up, and go get some dinner, get a shower, and then try get into bed, 7:30, 8-ish to start all over again.
That's if you have a good day, though.
That's if you have a good day and not crash or break anything or have any issues, or so it's actually crazy how quickly everything can turn. So the real key to it is to stay in control and no big mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to ask you the question now, because you're quite a mature racer compared to a lot of the lighties out there. A lot of Dakar is about using your head. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say 95% of Dakar is using your head. Knowing when to go fast and when to go slow. Figuring out how to manage your day. Managing even your liaisons. I mean, the one morning on the liaison, I had to stop and get a Red Bull on the side of the road because we had such a hectic night the night before. You wake up and you're flat. So it's easy to get caught up in the racing. And if you get into someone's dust and you're heading out at 140, the chances of making a mistake is really high. So you need to be wise in your decision making there, because the speeds are so high. It's like a life and death thing. So you really need to be sharp there.
Stu, can I ask you? And I think we've had this chat. The difference, it's obviously very, very different. If the Dakar were up to you, and if you're going to get into any trouble answering this question, you need to, you can refrain from answering. But would you run it in South America the way you used to, or in one country like you have this year and the previous year?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've never done a Dakar that's crossed the border. So I kind of feel that I've missed out compared to the people that have come in the past. I've never had to stamp a passport in different time zones. So it looked really exciting when Dakar went to South America the original years, over the Andes and that, which looked super cold as well. But it looked pretty good. But to say South America, I did Peru. Peru was terrible. I would never have gone back to do Dakar there. Saudi, the terrain is very nice. It's a little bit cold, but yeah, I think the terrain's good. It reminds me a lot of Morocco. We're quite fortunate this year. They didn't put us in too many rocks, because rocks are really tough on the rally bikes. It's not little enduro bikes you ride with at home. So I think the terrain was good. I think Saudi, for us, is a good country. It's a lot easier to get to, time zones, traveling costs to get there. So Saudi is really good. And yeah, I don't know how long I think they had 5 years booked there, but I don't know the future going forward if it will head back to South America.
From everything I've heard, the Saudis really do lay on the red carpet for you guys. Though, were you well treated? Are they? it's obviously a very important event for them. Were you looked after, in your opinion?
Yeah, they do look after us, but the difference from South America was the spectators. So our first year in South America, at the start podium, there were 300,000 people. It was insane.
Wow.
You walked around with your Dakar jerseys on, you were like a celebrity. I felt like Justin Bieber for half an hour of my life.
Look, you're not really
it was great. People would literally throw their child at you, and you would catch their child so you could have a photo with them. It was insane. And then you go to the start podium and the finish podium at Dakar in Saudi. Both times I've been there, and it's the biggest anticlimax. There's not a single person there. You get on the podium, you're all excited, you look around, and there's a bank of 8 or 10 photographers, and that's it. No one's clapping, no one's cheering. You kind of look around. You're not too sure exactly what to do, and see you on the big screen, and you look a bit dazed, and you walk off. So that's missing in South America. There's a few spectators out in the dunes in Saudi, but hardly any. I think they regulate it so much. Obviously, they're a little bit concerned of the security risk, but I'd rather prefer the terrain of Saudi, but the spectators would be great to have.
Yeah. No, well, spectators make any sport. Even, I mean, we chatted about the roof with all the COVID stuff this year. I mean, to have the spectators lined up on the mountains and cheering the guys on. There were a few this year, but it wasn't the same. But last year, but this year is going to be better. It's coming. It's all normalizing now. Taki,
100%.
Dakar, you went across. Tell me Motul's involvement. What do you guys get up to? It's a big part of your repertoire, and it's awesome to have a giant like Motul driving events like this. No, driving, sponsoring, being involved. What's your involvement at Dakar?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was very fortunate to go. I think it's a bucket list event for everybody. I was there in 2020 when Stuart was doing Original by Motul for the first time in Saudi. And yeah, I must say, I take my hat off to all the guys that do Original by Motul. It's really a category of its own. I think, like already on a bike, it's such a heroic like aspect. And then you add the Malamoto part where you're doing everything on your own, and it makes you vulnerable as such. It's a bit of a vulnerable situation. You're out there making all the decisions on your own, racing on your own, and then when you get back, you're responsible for everything else on your own, putting up your house, little mattress, and sleeping and carrying on. I mean, I didn't even race. I was there for 7 days, sleeping in the little tent that the Original by Motul guys sleep in with the mattress. And that was tough on its own, let alone, like Charan says, getting on a bike at 3:30 in the morning and going out and spending the whole day doing 1,000 Ks on a bike. So it's really, I think it's a very special category in the race, and it takes serious commitment from the guys doing it. So definitely one of my favorite categories to follow. And then from a Motul point of view, it's a massive part of our R&D, especially from an off-road bike and car, even truck side. We've got a lab that we send out there. It's open to everybody. We actually do condition monitoring for everybody. So you almost monitor the health of a bike's engine through that. And with that in the lab, we can see how our lubricants are performing, but it's a platform available to everybody. So we make it open to all the other competitors, and we can do a bit of comparison. So for instance, with the Original by Motul guys, we supply all the lubricants for them to maintain their bikes. And this is also a part available to them. And it's an awesome platform to constantly see the products in some of the harshest conditions that we can possibly put them in, especially for the off-road environment. I mean, this is a key platform and a key partnership for us. And yeah, it's a great event to be part of and develop the whole sport as we carry on.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome, man. Guys, tell me about those big Kamaz trucks. I mean, we've seen them. Charan, I think you'll speak to them. They're those big Kamaz trucks. They must be flipping terrifying when you're rolling along and this bloody thing comes up into your path.
Yeah, to touch wood, and I'm very thankful for it, but I wasn't passed by any trucks or cars during the race. But, you know, just to see them like and walk past them and see the size of these things and the team set up by them, it's scary. I had them in our shakedown test on the first day before the race started. We had a little 10K special just to go, you know, test the bikes and make sure everything was okay. And I started out just doing like a slow lap to you know, just get a feel and see what it was like. And two of these trucks came screaming past me. I like immediately ducked left and like parked for like a couple minutes just to wait for the dust to settle and like catch my breath. But it's, you know, those things are next level. To see what they're capable of and what they do is very impressive.
And there were a few electric trucks and things happening this year. Hybrids, is that's correct? I did see those. I think Audi had something out there, didn't they?
Yeah, Audi had their car there, which they were testing and actually did really well. And there was also a hydrogen truck that was there, and that was also pretty impressive to see. We actually saw it like every day on the liaison sections because they had to truck it from the bivouac to the start of the specials. We're actually still not sure why. We think maybe because the hydrogen car isn't legal to ride on roads or something. But we didn't get to see too much of it. I think it was kind of like under wraps a certain extent. But, you know, Dakar's making a big push into that field, you know, electric and hybrid and, you know, saving the environment and, you know, working in those directions.
Yes. Taki, your opinion on electric, is it further or closer than what we think?
That's a very tough one. I mean, from a lubricant point of view, there's a big drive for sustainability, just creating environmentally accepted lubricants, which is a tough part of the game. And looking at the whole automotive industry, I think in Europe and America and your more developed countries, electric's pretty close. As for Africa, I think it's quite a way away. I just think of like South Africa, our power grid's already like under serious demand, and I just imagine all of us driving home and plugging our cars into our load shedding house, so it does make it a bit difficult.
All those little solar panels, aerials, yeah. It's just
but I do think hybrid vehicles are going to be a big growing factor in the next couple of years. I think it's going to, even in Africa, I think there'll be quite a few hybrid vehicles, and the market share will grow quite a bit.
Yes, yeah. I've ridden a few electrics. It's not the same. Motorbikes are all about the sound.
Not at all.
And the emotion. It's just as good as they are. Yeah, it's going to take a mindset to get in here. Stu, any little stories you want to tell us? I believe you met some interesting American fellows.
So pretty much every Dakar I go, I'm good mates with Ross, and I used to go visit him all the time when Fran was there. She made me many cups of tea and coffee, but his teammates now is Andrew Short, the American. I think we all know him. He's a legend of Supercross, and what a cool American. What a really nice guy. I think everyone got along with him super well. I think we all know Ross has always got a great personality, so Ross kind of makes it easy, and often went to visit Ross and he wasn't there, and I just sat and chatted to Andrew, so he was pretty cool. Even messaged me since I've been back once or twice, and I told him he's the coolest American guy I know, even better than Donald Trump. So for a top, he's really nice guy. Met Van Dreven there, obviously in the Yamaha team, and I think just on the bikes we don't see too many of the top guys. I chatted to Toby once or twice at the start, but they started a bit further in front, and I think everyone's kind of in their zone. But I think that's also why Ross is so popular. He's such an approachable guy. Ross is at dinner every night. People chat to him. So he's got a great personality in the bivouac, which is cool to see from a Southern African side. Yeah.
And he's always smiling. That's the one thing. I always love chatting to Ross, and he really gets the whole sense of adventure across, which is cool. And look, we're probably going to have to catch up with him at some stage. But he's had a short left. He's taken a short left, and he's going to become all of our heroes. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think he's quite excited. I think it's a really cool deal for him, and I think it will see him well into the future. I think the bike's really good, and he's going to be pretty much a number one rider. He was testing the bike in Dubai. I think those are the pictures we saw. But he's really excited from what we hear. He said the top end of that bike like 186, which is way faster than anything else. So he's pretty excited. I think Charan and I might be joining them in Namibia soon to ride some dunes. We'll see if it comes together. Mainly from me. I think Charan's really committed. But yeah, I think there's a lot to see. I think Ross has got a good future. And yeah, let's see how he goes on the new bike. I hope to see him at the top.
I think we're all racing from it. It was an unfortunate crash this year, but that's racing. That's just the way it goes. But guys, can I ask you, Charan, So your big dogs are obviously the KTM group, which with their 3 brands, Yamaha, Honda. Is Hero comparable or do they make a splash? Do you see a lot of their presence there, or is it just kind of 1 or 2 bikes that roll in and off they go? And they've got some good. And I'm not being disparaging in any way, means, or form, because look how well they've done, and especially in the last couple of years, you've watched that Hero climb the leaderboard every year. They're just doing so well at the moment, man.
Yeah, I would say Hero's on par with all the rest of the team. So you've got, like you say, the 3 elite brands, the KTM, Husqvarna, and Gas, and they kind of segregate themselves, They stay to themselves, all the riders in campers. It's not really an approachable environment. And Honda's kind of taken on that same feel. They've got their little area, and I don't know if it's COVID related or if it's how they want to be. So the riders are completely focused on what's happening and on the race. But then you've got the Shercos, the Heroes, the Yamaha, the Reiju. They're also factory setups identical to what KTM are doing, but it just seems like a more approachable environment. And to no account any less like that standard. Yeah, exactly. It's proper. They've got the same truck, the same setup, the same amount of mechanics, and I think they're there with the same purpose to try and win stages and trying to win Dakar. It's not like they're going there thinking of themselves as a B team. I think they see themselves as being able to compete. And Hero now, I think they've only been in rally for a short period of time, and they've already won a stage at Dakar. And I think Ross is going to do really well for them, and he's going to be a real contender on the bike. And I think he's going to be treated as one of the top riders in that team, and it's only going to be good for him.
Which is, in my opinion, what he's deserved. He's put in the legwork. But he's always kind of been we understand what we're saying. I think you put it in very eloquently. And Ross, we're all rooting for you, man. We've watched you do this. He could be like our worm in this game, would you say? Hey, he's a groundbreaker for most of us. It's brilliant.
He is. He set the foundation for us. Daryl and them kind of started it, and then Ross has taken it to that next level, and he's opened the doors for us, and he's so helpful, and he'll help anyone with any information that wants to get there. He's such a humble guy, and he's so down to earth, and he was our most famous friend, but now we know Andrew Short, so now he's our second most famous.
I think your friends are improving a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, the destroyer. No, but it's good. I think, honestly, he's got big things coming in his future, and what's really cool is he helps us along the way, and it's really cool to have him in our corner as well.
Well, I saw that when we had the chat with you guys and Bradley before Dakar. I mean, Ross was teaching us. He's taken Bradley literally under his wing and taught him about the navigation and this and that. And Brad did really well, all things considered. I mean, it's his first Dakar. He's a young oak. He didn't know what to expect. He had a big boxer in the form of Alfie in his corner. But hey, hats off. I think the future is exciting for South Africans in this game. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. He went there with good support, and I think Alfie's got a lot of experience as well. He can guide Brad the right way, and Brad's definitely got the pace to run near the front. And I think with some experience and some more riding, he can also work his way right to the top there. So if we can surround ourselves with riders like this, it helps elevate all our levels to that point. And who knows, in a couple of years' time, there might be more than Ross on a factory ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Stu, we were chatting a little bit earlier while we were off air, and you said next time maybe you'd like a little bit more comfort.
Yeah, having done original class 3 times, starting to get many numbers in my ID book. I seem to be more in my look. So yeah, in the future, I'd love to be able to be a bit more comfortable. This year I had a great time. The race went well. Everything was good except for sleep. I told all the guys about a lovely inflatable mattress, and showed them which one to take and how it worked, and pumped it up for the fourth night. It was super comfy, and I woke up at night and mine had punctured, and I was sleeping on the floor, and that was pretty much my sleeping for the rest of the race. I know on these foam egg carton things. Bradley eventually gave me his thing at the nightmare. I'd like a little bit of comfort in these ones.
Brilliant. Now, I believe, just chatting to both of you as well, you're planning on doing more of this kind of thing. Is that correct? And along the lines of taking part in some of the world champion rallies, is that correct? Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, so that's the plan. I'm really looking forward to doing a couple more of the rallies, and I've committed to trying to get to as many rounds in the World Championship Series as possible. So Dakar was actually round 1 of the series. So the next one's in Abu Dhabi, beginning of March. So I've committed to going to that. And then there's 3 more rounds after that I really want to try and get to. I think Stu's keen on Kazakhstan. So the plan is, Abu Dhabi, Kazakhstan, and then see where we can go from there.
Yes, that's just fantastic. And then Stu, you said you might give enduro a little bit of a break. I know you're traditionally an enduro boy. Is that the case? And Charan, same for you. You're going to race less nationally. I mean, last year you had a full season. This year, not so much.
Yeah, I think the idea is just to step back a little. I do feel a little bit burnt out. I went to the first hair scramble yesterday, actually, Sunday, and lost my clip card. I think it's the first time in my life. But I really, my mind's not in it. So I'm just going to take a step back from local racing, kind of focus on Kazakhstan. I just need to kind of recharge and refresh. We went, trained, we've done 3 Dakars. I've done roof every single year, except obviously the year it was cancelled with COVID. But it just feels too much with roof last year as well before Dakar. So I just want to kind of recharge myself a little bit more time with the family. It's a lot of time away, and unfortunately it's quite selfish sport. So spend some more time with the family and recharge for Kazakhstan and see where we go. They're not excited I go back to Dakar, but I've said never twice and I've got there. So I don't know what the future holds.
Unreal. I've got a couple of questions. Ryan Bland, camper, Stu camper.
Yeah, I was supposed to sleep in their camper on the rest day, but I think they ended up taking it to the hotel. So I got an expensive hotel for one night in Riyadh, but that camper looks comfortable. It looks good, but I don't know. I think it's around 600,000 to rent one and get in the bivouac. So it comes with a massive, massive bill. I could probably do another Moto and have change with 600,000. So how uncomfortable do you want to be for how much money?
Yeah, absolutely. But any camper will tell you that a blow-up mattress is a cuck idea. But we're not going to go there. Taki, what level of detail can the Motul lab extract when doing an analysis of an engine oil sample? Do you want me to read
I've got that one. So the Motul lab really helps out a lot. You can see pretty much everything. So we can analyze 37 different wear metals. So understanding the engine is critical and what it's built out of and what materials are used where. So you can pick up what part of the engine's wearing, be it main bearings, piston wear. Depending on the wear metals that are present, it's like a human's blood. You can really pick up a lot of information. And then you also can pick up a lot of information about contaminants. So I think Stu had a bit of a failure with some dust one year. You can pick up dust in your engine oil as well. You can pick up water, coolant. So I personally feel it's a big part of preventing a failure. You can maybe pick up a failure a stage or 2 beforehand. So you might have a minor coolant leak on stage 5, and you'll pick it up in the oil sample when you drain your oil, and you can try fix that for the next stage. Or I remember in 2020 there was one Motor rider that we helped out. There's a little plug on the top of the rally bike's motor, and it started vibrating loose, and that was on stage 9, if I'm not mistaken. And we tracked his oil from stage 1 to stage 9, and all of a sudden on that day, his dust content in his oil was like tenfold, and he didn't even know about it. We gave him the report back and told him, like, listen, somewhere there's dust coming in. We can't really say where. And he went back and he actually found that this cap was pretty much totally rattled out. He replaced it and carried on. So if he didn't pick up on that, the next day there's a very high likelihood that that motor would have failed. And the same happens with the factory teams. We work really closely with Honda and Euro. The same with Sherco. We've got a factory full sponsor with Sherco or deal with Sherco. And between those three brands, we really did a lot of R&D from our side. But additionally, what we bring to the party is to try and make sure all those engines get to the finish line in any way possible. And that's why we do literally sample every single day with all those bikes. And it gives us a full track record of them and gives you a bit of trending so you can pick up what's wearing and at what rates.
Yes, it's actually unbelievable. I mean, modern technology, in the old days, you wouldn't even think of stuff like that. Charan, you've got your own rally bike. You took it across with you. Is that correct, or did you rent on that side?
No, so I got another one that side. It was just logistically easier, and it's going to stay that side. It's going to actually have a base in Netherlands with the one team there for the rallies this year.
Okay, and they'll prep it and make sure it's ready for you, and then off you go.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
Stu, you always rent a bike. What are the costs involved? And when you get the bike, is it perfect, or is it well used?
No, it's the other way around. So I rented the first year from a Netherlands crowd, think where everyone goes bought. But I bought my own bike for my first trip to Saudi, sent it via Dubai, and then said never again. I'm going to Dakar, sold it, and lost money as we do selling bikes. And 6 months later, bought another one for 100,000 and more. So yeah, I've sent that other bike to Europe, but it was really a hassle to get it there. And I've sent it with a Cornet, which was a massive hassle as well. And it can be in Europe for 1 year. So that's also the reason I'm going to do another rally. It cost a lot of money to get the bike there. And I said, well, let's utilize it while it's in Europe. So it's actually 100%. With the same team that Charan's bike's with. And that's why we're going together to the rally. So it's a Netherlands crowd, and they seem quite good. I'm quite excited to work with them. So the bike's there. And yeah, Kazakhstan might not happen. There's talk of it, obviously, with Ukraine and Russia, and things aren't great in that region. But there's always Rally de Morocco, which is really nice in October, Morocco rally. So that's always a possibility. So I'd rather leave it in Europe. There's not too many rallies in South Africa to utilize that bike. So we'll leave it in Europe and see what happens through the year.
Oh, that's cool. Can I ask you another question? I mean, the KTM group released their new rally bikes for this year, and they, we can only see the photos and the videos and things. Are they? You obviously, I would have gone to look at them and drool over them a little bit. In that, are they going forward in leaps and bounds, or is it just incremental changes every year? What are they up to? From what you can tell.
Yeah, the jury's out a little bit. So I did talk to the guys when I went to get some spares. They're not making that bike this year, so they're not happy with the development. They're going to develop it for another year. So if you want to buy a rally bike, it's a current spec, which we can all buy, which Charan and I raced on, and everyone except for the factory team. But chatting to my good buddy Toby there one day, he said they weren't happy with the high-speed stability, and they were off to Dubai to test some new parts on it, slightly longer swing arms. It's a normal enduro frame, so it's not a trellis frame. From what the guys say, it handles really well in the tight stuff, but it's a little bit unstable at high speed. So anyone who's ridden a current spec rally bike, it's incredible stable at high speed. You can literally go as fast as you want and sip on your camelback or reading your WhatsApps on your phone. So it's pretty good. But
No, while reading magazines, come on, give us a punt now. While reading your favorite motorbike magazine.
While reading my Dirt and Trail instead of my work.
Right, we'll keep them. It's awesome. Taki, question for you, coming from a local guy. Sorry, shoot, sir.
I was going to just say with the two rally bikes, I think there's a big rift coming between straight line speed and stability, and the lightness and nimbleness within the dunes and the more technical sections. So that's where the people are trying to find a fine balance between the two, and that's seeing development come with lighter bikes to be more nimble in the more dune sections and in the more tighter sections. So I think that's where the changes are coming.
Yeah, but if I know that group, they'll have it sorted out. They've been doing this for a long time, and they do it very well. So it's brilliant. But I also remember that when we were chatting about Ross earlier, when he first started with Yamaha, he had a similar problem, and they took his advice on lengthening the swing arm and all that stuff just to smooth things out a bit. I've got a question for Taki again. Dion Duplessis says, Taki, your oil service, is it available in South Africa for us local guys who train and race? Where's your Where's your lab here?
So we do some testing, yeah, more actually on the car and heavy duty side. We are looking at a way to do it on the bike side at a more available level. But there's also an independent lab here in South Africa that I use a lot called WearCheck, and it is really a nice tool to use, especially on a race bike. I mean, you can pick up everything. You can pick up clutch wear early. You can pick up gear wear. So it's a really nice tool to use for racing. I use it quite often on my race bike, and just overall monitoring of the condition from anything. You can monitor that engine's condition as it wears out down, and see what you're doing wrong or right. And if you're trying something new, you can see the performance of it.
Yes, that's amazing. Quick question, one more. Guys, I know you spend time in Namibia with training and stuff. Malcolm Joubert asks, is it a good simulation of the experience you get in Saudi Arabia? Is Namibia close?
I think so. I think it's got a lot to offer. It's actually, the dunes there in Namibia are a lot more difficult than the dunes that we'll find in Saudi, because they're like 3 or 4 sided, where in Saudi you've generally got a 2-sided dune, the sharp side and the flatter side. But due to the wind directions and that in Namibia, the dunes shape differently. So it's really difficult to navigate them and to figure out how to go through them. So it's really a good training place. And also just outside of those dune belts, there's some really good hard pack sections that can be, those skills can be transferred pretty well to the conditions that we see in Saudi. So yeah, it's right here on our doorstep, and I think it's the best area we got to train for the rally type conditions.
No, absolutely. Guys, we've been on for 40 minutes or so. I'm going to start winding it up. Stu, I want to go and do Dakar. What advice do you have for Glenn other than going and robbing the bank?
Don't go to Dakar and send me all your money so I can go back. I'm
I don't have any of that. You're in trouble.
No, I think it's achievable. So yeah, I dreamed for a long time to go, and chatting to a lot of guys, a lot of people, especially around Dakar when I get back, how much does it cost? And a lot of guys running around away just at that point. But it's achievable, and set something in the ground and work towards it. And it's not impossible. I'm a normal rider. I'm not a South African champion. More just a regional rider, do some national competitions, but unfortunately, I'm not winning the nationals. But it is achievable. We can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can get sponsors, you can get businesses and friends who support you golf days. So yeah, go and do it. I think a lot of us have been there to help. Obviously, I've been there 3 times now, and a couple other guys. There's John Kelly did really well with his fundraising. Werner, the other guys that have been there. So chat to us, and we can help you as much as you can. I think the rally is such a cool fraternity of people that want to help each other. As Charan mentioned, Ross is telling us everything to do is really helping Brad, and we'll help everyone to try to get there. It's awesome to see people from Southern Africa. So just keep working at it. It's not impossible. Anyone can do it. I dreamed of doing 1, and I've done 3. So nothing's impossible.
That's cool. Just work at it. It's like anything in life. Charan, yourself as an experienced racer guy, tell me what would you? So I'm a youngster. I've got the bucks. I'm going to go and do Dakar. Now let's look at it from a technical point of view. What is my best way to achieve?
So, to be honest, it depends. There's 2 ways you can go to Dakar, and you can go to Dakar to race and try and prove something to someone, or with this expectation of being the best or being the fastest, or trying to make a name for yourself, which some people, that's their goal to go to Dakar. For others, it's simply to go there and finish. So dependent on your goal, you have completely different outlooks on why you're going to Dakar. For me, step 1 was to finish. And I think going there, how you can get to the finish line is to make sure you're mentally prepared for it and mentally strong to get there. As Stu says, that you don't have to be a South African champion to go and finish Dakar. It's really achievable. But if you start slipping or making mistakes or crashing or damaging the bike, or having issues that start to set you back, it's a snowball effect, and one mistake leads to another mistake, which leads to a night not sleeping, which leads to a crash on the liaison, which leads to more damage, and it's a snowball effect. So you just need to manage yourself and manage your race, and make sure you're in control of yourself. Like, if something bad happens, you need to manage the situation, see it for what it is, and act in control to get through it properly. I mean, on the last 3 stages, I had a leaking radiator, and every night I thought I fixed the problem, but I never did. And that can fluster you and throw everything out of whack, and you need to be able to control your emotions and deal with the adversity and the things that come up. So yeah, I think it's managing yourself and your mind. I think that's the biggest step, whether you want to go finish or whether you want to go race, because now same thing is, if you want to go race and charge hard and go as fast as you can, you need to be mentally sharp and make sure you're not making mistakes and hitting rocks in the sand and that kind of stuff, because if you come off there, it can be serious. So that mental element, I think, is the biggest challenge to Dakar.
And you guys are a perfect example of this. Stu, you didn't go to race; you went to experience it. Charan, you went to race. Is that a correct analogy?
No, I don't. Year 1 for me was not about racing. So, I mean, I went to Dakar purely to finish Dakar and to finish a journey that someone else had started. And to be honest, I think there was one stage where I started to race really hard. And I was riding with a couple of the elite riders and a couple of the Sherco pros and Ricky Brabeck for a little bit. And, you're riding the bike so hard. And I was literally at, 60 for 40 minutes, as fast as the bike could go in some of those sections. And now I'm thinking, this is stage 2, and I need to make it to the end of this rally. But I'm sitting here with this bike as fast as I can go. And I'm like, I want to make it to the finish. It's not about hanging with any of these guys. And, you back off a little bit to 145. And that's that mental decision you need to make. So I made the decision to go and finish. And you need to stick to that, because you can get sucked into the racing really quickly.
But even so, your result was pretty spectacular for first time out. Not too shabby, Nige.
Yeah, I think the rally racing suits us as South Africans. We're used to not knowing what's around the corner, and we've got a sharp eye, and I think we're not scared to hang cable.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a question for Stu. Was Silver Roof in 21 tougher than the whole of Dakar 22? You've got to turn your mic on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to chat to Charan later.
Careful, yes, too.
We want to keep them friends.
11 hours to do 83 Ks. I prefer Dakar. I would say, in one single day, Roof was epically hard. Just the weather conditions were crazy. But Dakar just wears you down. So you start off really strong, and then it takes 5% out of you every day. And then if you have some tough conditions, it takes 10% out of you that day. So by the time you're near the end, you really are fatigued and tired. But if you walked away and came back next month and did the last 5 days, you'd be a lot stronger. So it's a long innings. It's a 5-day test and not a 2020. So yeah,
absolutely,
it's a different race. But we'll be back to Roof. I have chatted to the Route course director here, and I think there's some good, exciting things this year. So I'll definitely be back at Roof this year.
You know a guy, hey?
I know a guy to talk to.
I'll come video and laugh at you. How does that sound? Taki, closing comments? Anything you need to add?
Yeah, I just think Dakar's a next level event. I mean, being there opened my eyes to what size and the magnitude of that event. And yeah, once you've been there, you just always want to go back. So I think all the riders that have been there won't stop with that. After the 14 days, maybe feel like they're not going back, but a few days later, will definitely want to go back.
Yeah.
They really run a neat show, and I'm sure all the riders will say that. Bivouac, do you think that whole thing is set up by the time they get to the next place? If I'm not mistaken, Dakar runs 3 full setups. That today's where everybody is set up, and the next day is already set up. while they're breaking down the previous day's one, and they rotate like that. And I mean, you're moving pit crew and support and everything over 1,000 Ks almost every single day, and making sure everything's running flawlessly. So it's really an epic event, and I think it's a journey and a total adventure. And I think, yeah, that's what attracts everybody. There's always a story. It's a story being told. As much as it's a race, it's a story that we can all follow. And I think for any form of motorsport enthusiast, it's one of the biggest events. And especially from a Southern African point of view, it's like a highlight on the calendar for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. It's like I said at the beginning, we used to sit with bated breath waiting for Dakar on TV, and now MotoGP is coming, so it's going to be absolutely brilliant. But Taki, you're quite quick on that Pepsi Plastics Kawasaki of yours. We're going to see you at Dakar next year.
Maybe someday I'll put my big old panties on and try take on Dakar. I must first try catch Charan right at his level.
Yeah, you know the drill.
You can make it there, no problem. Don't be scared.
Look, it's like Charan says, that there's so many lighties racing Dakar now. We were talking about that earlier while we were off air. It's incredible the amount of talent.
Remember, Taki is not a lighty, hey, Glenn.
Check the airline here. There's lots of experience here.
I'll wear my hat. It's fine.
No, but in all honesty, Glenn, it is a dream of mine. After being there, it's something that I'd really like to compete in. So maybe someday we'll join the guys there. And yeah, it's just, I take my hat off to all of them. It's a serious commitment, and they've all made it happen and committed full on to it and brought home some really awesome results.
Yeah,
they put South Africa and Southern Africa on the map, which is amazing.
But you know what? As a Burki, we sit here and we just feel so proud watching what you do. But it's not just South Africans, Southern Africans, Lesotho, all these oaks out there.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic to see. Guys, I think
100%.
that's it. And we covered everything we need to chat about. It was an awesome adventure. We look forward to following you guys through the year. Obviously, please keep us posted on everything you get up to. And then I think it's important we get Ross in for a chat one of these days, and maybe young Bradley. Let's see what they get up to. But guys, thanks a lot. Motor Mali, original by Motul, the toughest of the tough, I suppose. Hey, I'll have to call you all sir when I see you. How does that sound? But yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, look at that. I did that.
People's trophy cabinet. So yeah, starting a little collection here. So I don't know how many more you're gonna get.
Oh boy,
this is awesome.
Yeah, it'll go next to your silver roof trophy.
Yeah,
I hope.
Again, the one thing I wanted to say, with going to Dakar, it was such a cool experience going with like a group of people. You see some riders there that come there all by themselves to go and take on Dakar, and it gets kind of lonely. Some weird guy from like Slovenia or something, kind of just on his ace there doing his own thing. It's cool for them, and it's cool to be a part of it. And I think Stu can attest for his first Dakar. But we went, and there was 4 or 5 of us, and it was nice to have that camaraderie and that group together. So I'd say anyone planning to go, if there's 2 or 3 guys interested, I'd try and link up and go the same year, because it adds so much value to the experience to share with them, from the travel to the accommodation to just eating meals before the event together. To kind of sharing that struggle like every day and sitting, eating your meals and that. It added a lot of value to the Dakar experience for us.
And guys, isn't that what riding motorcycles is all about? It's a good time with your mates. That's what it boils down to. It doesn't matter
100%.
what discipline you do. It's about getting up there and saying, I rode over that bloody rock there. How cool is that, Guys, I say thank you very much. Your wives are all going to kill us. We've kept you up too late. Have a liquor dinner, and thank you very much for the chat. I'm going to leave this up on our page for a couple of, it'll be there for perpetuity. And I hope that anybody looking at doing Dakar has a look, and it'll be good. We'll watch you through the year. It's going to be epic. And I say thanks very much for your time, boys.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Glenn. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Yep.
Just
Bye.